Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more Los Angeles Lakers news, but first don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Changes will be inevitable for the Lakers, because in the playoffs few players performed well enough to take the team to the NBA Finals. Signing a great center is a priority and Rui Hachimura had some good games, but for most of the season he was poor, and to get the promising center Nic Claxton, it will be necessary to send Hachimura to the Brooklyn Nets. It's no secret that the Los Angeles Lakers' biggest problem is their lack of big, evidently exposed in the first round against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have seized a 3-1 series lead after a 116-113 win in Game 4 on Sunday. Bleacher Report's Andy Bailey proposed an offseason trade that will solve the Lakers' woes and make them more competitive for next season. Bailey's trade proposal. Los Angeles Lakers receive Nicholas Claxton. Brooklyn Nets receive Rui Hachimura, Maxi Kleber, a 2028 first-round pick swap and a 2030 first-round pick swap. Nic Claxton offers rim protection and the kind of lob threat that Luka Doncic has gotten so much over the years, without totally sacrificing what makes the small ball lineups interesting. For a center, he's solid at moving his feet and covering perimeter players, Bailey wrote. Kleber was only a throw-in in the Doncic-Anthony Davis trade. If the Lakers send Hachimura out in this deal, they must re-sign Dorian Finney-Smith first to an extension. Otherwise, trading away Hachimura with Finney-Smith walking this offseason will only create another problem for the Lakers. For the Brooklyn Nets, this gives a rebuilding team 2 expiring contracts that can be moved next season, but more importantly, it presents 2 shots at moving up in future drafts, Bailey wrote. It's hard to imagine the Nets will not ask for the Lakers' 2031 first-round pick, which they readily offered in the rescinded Mark Williams trade. Underscore 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 underscore. Nic Claxton plays better with stars. Claxton's numbers may have dipped this season, 10.3 points, 7.4 rebounds, 2.2 assists and 1.4 blocks, as the Nets tanked for the draft lottery, but he has the potential to become one of the elite centers in the league in a better environment. The 6'11" rim-running center was at his best when he played alongside 2 future NBA Hall of Famers Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. In their final season together in 2022-23 in Brooklyn, Claxton averaged 12.6 points, 9.2 rebounds, and a career-high 2.5 blocks per game. He also shot a career-best 70.5% from the field, feasting on lobs from the Nets' former stars. Playing with Doncic, Austin Reeves, and presumably LeBron James, who has a player option for next season, will undoubtedly revitalize Claxton, who will feast inside with lobs coming from everywhere. Underscore 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 underscore. Lack of center forced J.J. Redick to unprecedented decision. After the Lakers lost Game 3, Coach J.J. Redick made the blunt admission about their biggest weakness. The fact is we don't have quote-unquote rim protection, Redick told reporters after the loss. You give up blow-bys, we're gonna give up something. We're gonna give up a 3-pointer or shot at the rim. Jackson Hayes is the Lakers' lone center on the roster. But he's only playing 7.5 minutes in the series. In the must-win Game 4, Hayes only saw 4 minutes as Redick went small ball for the entire second half. Redick's unprecedented decision to play LeBron James, Doncic, Austin Reeves, Hachimura, and Finney-Smith with no relief in the second half came back to haunt them. Los Angeles lost steam after entering the fourth quarter with a 10-point lead. Minnesota outscored them 32-19 in the fourth quarter, led by Anthony Edwards' 16 of his game-high 43 points. I felt like they were gassed going down the stretch, Edwards told reporters. So just trying to keep my foot on the pedal and keep going. James did not score while Doncic went 1-for-6 and Reeves 2-for-7 in the final 12 minutes. J.J. Redick may have sabotaged the Lakers in their Game 4 loss. Overall, J.J. Redick has done a fine job as the rookie head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers this season, especially considering how skeptical people were about him when he was initially hired last offseason. He has kept the Lakers in one piece through multiple slumps, a remaking of their roster at midseason and tragedy off the court while getting them to surpass expectations by finishing with the third seed in the Western Conference. They faltered in the final few weeks of the regular season and could have coasted after being assured they would bypass the play-in tournament, but Redick got them to keep pushing for that third seed. However, in Sunday's Game 4 against the Minnesota Timberwolves, Redick may have sabotaged his own team. He went with the same 5 men, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura and Dorian Finney-Smith, for the entire second half. While that quintet scored the first 14 points of the third quarter and outscored Minnesota 36-23 in the period, it wore down afterward. The Lakers scored just 19 points in the fourth quarter while giving up 32 points. During that period, Doncic, who was outstanding through 3 quarters, shot just 1 of 6 from the field, Reeves went 2 of 7 and James was scoreless. They made a couple of costly miscues in crunch time, including an inbounds pass that James threw away with about 30 seconds left. It was the first really bad decision of Redick's coaching career, and perhaps as a result, LA lost Game 4 116-113 and now trails this first-round playoff series 3-1. ESPN analyst and former NBA player Tim Legler went on The Dan Patrick Show on Monday and explained how Redick did a poor coaching job. James is nearing the end of his 22nd NBA season and thus has only a finite amount of energy to expend in each game, and Doncic isn't the most conditioned athlete around. Even for the supremely conditioned, playing 24 consecutive minutes, especially against a physical Minnesota team that excels on defense, is too much. Perhaps Redick's decision highlights one big problem the Lakers have, their lack of serviceable depth. Their center rotation is extremely weak, and they lack backcourt and wing depth. Guard Gabe Vincent is only serviceable when he's hitting from the outside, and his outside shooting always varies from game to game. Forward Jared Vanderbilt can provide great energy and help on the boards, but he's about as useful offensively as a ballpoint pen in a gunfight, and Jordan Goodwin may not deserve to be in the rotation of a playoff team, at least in this point of his career. But the coach's decision is now in the past. He and his team have to, at the very least, figure out how to win Game 5 on Wednesday. If they fall in that contest, especially if they lose by a sizable margin, the people who criticized Redick when he was first hired for his current role could come out of the woodwork again. Zach Lowe pinpoints 2 Luka Doncic problems impacting the LA Lakers in series with Minnesota Timberwolves. Luka Doncic was unable to prevent the Los Angeles Lakers' 116-113 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 4, putting them in a 3-1 hole in the series. NBA analyst Zach Lowe didn't hold back in his assessment of Luka Doncic's defensive shortcomings. He picked out the Slovenian star as a weakness up against Minnesota's strong and energetic offense. Zach Lowe thinks Luka Doncic needs to fight more defensively. He's just helpless defensively, off the ball too, Lowe stated bluntly on his podcast about Luka Doncic. How about you put up a fight in like Game 1? And now you're down 3-1 and you're probably going home. The criticism highlights a weakness that has followed Doncic throughout his career but has been particularly exposed in this playoff series against the athletic Timberwolves. Despite the Lakers' defensive needs against Minnesota's explosive offense, Doncic has struggled to provide resistance on that end. Where's the Luka magic as a playmaker? While Doncic poured in 38 points in Game 4, Lowe pointed to another concerning statistic that suggests the superstar isn't having his typical impact as a playmaker. One interesting stat from this series is that Luka only has 20 assists in 4 games, which for him is not very many, Lowe explained. For a player averaging 7.5 assists during the regular season with the Lakers, Doncic's playmaking has seemingly disappeared at the worst possible time. His 2 assists in Game 4 represented a dramatic drop-off from his usual production, while his 1-assist performance in Game 1 was particularly alarming. Give it 2 years, why it's too soon to regrade the Luka Doncic trade. Only one thing can determine who ultimately won the Luka Doncic-Anthony Davis trade, and that could take time. It's been nearly 3 months since the blockbuster trade sent Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers and Anthony Davis to the Dallas Mavericks. Nico Harrison has been eviscerated for the knee-jerk move, with more jokes probably still stowed away. Now that the initial shock has died down, it's time to truly dive into this. I'm not here to defend Harrison because it was a boneheaded move. But maybe we give this time to unfold before we immediately say it was a terrible move. I don't agree with the return he got for Doncic. I don't even agree with giving up on him either, but that decision is clearly well above my pay grade. This will need a couple of years before we got back and regrade this trade. A lot has to happen. I'm not optimistic that 2 years later, we're going to apologize to Harrison. But there's a chance it might just work out, possibly for both teams. What if Davis defies odds with a healthy next 2 seasons? Kyrie Irving comes back and the two carry Dallas to their first ring since 2011? Likely, no. But if it does happen, maybe Harrison can be absolved of the criticism he faced. Only one thing can determine who ultimately won the Luka Doncic-Anthony Davis trade: a championship. The only thing that will determine the true winner of the trade is whoever wins a championship. It doesn't even have to be the first team to win one. Because if both the Lakers and Mavericks win a championship, it could turn out to be one of the most balanced trades in a while. Harrison saw value in Davis and saw him as the missing piece. If the Mavericks win a championship, it was worth all the scrutiny. The Lakers obviously have a longer window with Doncic being younger. But a championship for both would mean Harrison got what he ultimately wanted and Rob Pelinka got what he wanted. Though a championship won't wash away the pain Mavs fans had seeing the news of Doncic leaving Dallas. He was supposed to be the one to win the championship in Dallas, not Davis. It could at least be some solace for a fan base that needs anything to go right. The way the season ended after the trade deadline for the Mavs showed they didn't make the right decision in trading Doncic away. If they don't win a championship, not only would prove to be an egregious mistake, but the fact that they didn't get enough return to even begin to build a contender would prove Harrison was truly clueless when he made the decision. Stephen A. Smith responds to Dwight Howard claims LeBron James will be the GOAT with 3-1 series comeback: "I'll be deadly serious." LeBron James and the LA Lakers are 3-1 down in the opening round of the NBA playoffs. The playoffs have worked out disastrously for the LA Lakers so far, with the team on the brink of elimination after 4 games. There is no room for error up against a determined Anthony Edwards-led Minnesota Timberwolves, after giving up multiple leads in Game 4, including a 10-point advantage heading into the 4th quarter. LeBron James is determined to lead a comeback, as he once famously did in 2016 in the NBA Finals against the Warriors, the only 3-1 comeback in Finals history. LeBron James and the LA Lakers are 1 defeat away from elimination, needing to go 3-0 to turn the series around. His former rival turned 2020 title-winning teammate Dwight Howard argues that if LeBron James can power a comeback, he should be considered the greatest of all time. He posted on X, "If LeBron comes back from 3-1 at 40, I don't want to even hear about a GOAT debate." Stephen A. Smith refutes claims. Questioned about Dwight Howard's claims, ESPN analyst Stephen A. Smith said he had little time for his comments. Speaking to First Take, he shot back, "The only thing I want to hear from Dwight Howard is that speech at the Hall of Fame, which by the way he deserves." He then took a shot at LeBron's dud 4th quarter in Game 4, "We ain't going to get caught up in this. First of all, 12 minutes, 2 shots, 0 points in the 4th quarter, we don't want to hear that, number one. I'm just being petty with that one." He then dismissed LeBron James' GOAT case, arguing that Michael Jordan never even fell 3-1 down in the series in the first place. "Here's where I'll be deadly serious. I'm sick and tired of us acting like, forget Michael Jordan's 6 championship rings, forget the fact he's undefeated in the championship round. How about this one? The man never allowed a series to get to Game 7. There were no Game 7s, because he took you out before then. To get to a Game 7, LeBron James and the Lakers must win a Game 5 and 6, and right now his focus is purely on salvaging the Lakers' season." Stephen A. Smith added, "Stop that nonsense, this is MJ we're talking about here. I don't want to hear anything about LeBron James and the GOAT conversation, especially when he's down 3-1.